United Airlines Flight 93 departed Newark on the morning of September 11th, bound for San Francisco. Hijacked around 9:28 a.m., its transponder was turned off. Passengers, learning of the other hijackings via phone calls, revolted against hijackers, and at 10:03 a.m., Flight 93 crashed into a field near Shanksville, Pennsylvania, killing all 44 on board. The official narrative is that passenger resistance forced the hijackers to crash the plane deliberately before reaching Washington, D.C., where its target was believed to be either the Capitol or the White House. The alternative theory holds that U.S. military jets shot down Flight 93 to prevent it from reaching its target. Here's some photos of the impact crater left in the field. Researchers found this was after some of the debris had been cleaned up. These photos were taken.
Oh, yeah, clean up the evidence.
Searchers found debris, including light wreckage and paper, scattered up to 8 miles away from the main crash site. Skeptics argue this suggests a mid-air breakup from a missile strike and not an initial impact. Early news footage shows a smoking crater with relatively little visible wreckage, and witnesses said the crash site looked like the plane had disintegrated, leaving just a hole in the ground, leading some people to suspect a mid-air collision. And then still other people observed what might have been military aircraft circling the area immediately after the plane crashed. Now, the official narrative is that they tapped a business jet that was in the area to do a flyover to observe that on behalf of the FAA to get a visual confirmation that the plane had gone down. But many other people reported seeing at least one, perhaps two, military aircraft do a few circles before taking off, which suggests they were in pursuit and shot down the plane.
Okay, that's very interesting because you figure, I was going to say a deep crater with annihilated wreckage would make sense if, it nosedived into the ground. That, I don't know how you could account for stuff being found 8 miles away if it nosedived into the ground and was intact until such time as it hit the ground.
Yeah, I believe, according to the official narrative about Flight 93, after the passengers took it back over, they attempted to kind of glide it down, but of course none of them knew how to fly a plane, and it basically just ended in a fiery crash. But there was an attempt to set it down somehow. And we have, the call records and everything of the guys on the phone with their loved ones.
It's the famous "Let's Roll." I mean, that's where "Let's Roll." But in the movie United 93, which it's interesting also that you would talk about Hollywood. I say propaganda to try to push a narrative because I could hear Hillary Clinton's demonic voice in my head saying, "At this point, what difference does it make? They're all dead. Do we make them into heroes?" To cover up the fact that we shot them down, because which narrative is going to be more palatable for the American public to accept? In the movie, it was the terrorists who flew it into the ground, and they're trying to pull up, they're pulling down. So there was no attempt in the movie to glide it to landing. They deliberately crashed it.
Yeah, and the events of what happened in the cockpit are a little bit unclear because we know they went after them. We know they resisted. We know they stormed the cockpit. And maybe passengers tried to land it. Maybe the terrorists were forced to nosedive. We're not really sure. But this is part of why I bristled so much at covering this for years. It's like I don't want to impugn the legacy of the people who are credited with being heroes in this incident. Like you said.
Well, we do. We know. We know from the phone records that they did intervene. The only question is, was it shot down?
But to say that their heroism could have resulted in all of them safely landing the plane if the United States government had shot them out of the sky. Again, it boggles the mind to think that might be a thing that was even possible. That rather than intervening or, trying to coach somebody through how to do an emergency ditch landing of the plane,
very difficult.
They just shot him out of the sky.
I'm Connor. I hate to come back to the passport thing. I'm just blowing. While many other personal effects were recovered from the crash sites, including some belonging to passengers, no definitive reports of any full intact passports belonging to the victims survived the World Trade. So this was just only 4 passports of the terrorists.
The closest thing that they recovered was actually from Flight 93. It was Toshiya Kuge's passport holder that survived the crash.
It is interesting, Connor. You mentioned it. Like, if they were struggling to regain control of the plane from the terrorists, and they preemptively, intempestively, I don't know if that's the word, prematurely shot it down because they didn't want to take any chances. Whereas, maybe there could have been another outcome. I just say, at that point, I presume they shot it down as soon as they could.
And again, but that's the point. But Vinny was saying it is a difficult and horrific calculus to make.
It is
horrific. But if the military has knowledge that plane is headed to the Capitol, the White House, they're going to shoot it down.
That one can't happen.
It's better to blow up 44 people than to let the entire United States government get a plane dropped
And it's
on
not
them.
like anybody would have been looking in the skies with any sort of
Not in Pennsylvania.
scrutiny over
Not
Pennsylvania.
in the middle of where was it in Pennsylvania?
Shanksville.
In Shanksville? No, because think about it. The goal was the big spectacle. 2 World Trade Center in the heart of the greatest city in the world. Hit that, make those come down. Oh, building number 7, which I know we're probably going to talk about before we end.
And the Pentagon.
All that, and then the Pentagon, airplane. But this one, I think, was okay. They knew that this one was going to go there. You guys are dead because you're not. Guess what? Whatever the plan is, it doesn't include destroying Washington. So if you like this clip, click right here. And if you want to see more like it, click right here. Stay angry, Patriots.